back, everybody, here to Greater Beckley Christian High School for our third game of the Little General preseason shootout. Chris Kidd here with you, with Andrew Boland and Emma Gardner, our camera people, along with Garrett Lester, our engineer for today's contest, as Bluefield back in action for the second time today, as they will get things started here with this early possession, taking on Greater Beckley in their first game of today. As they give it off to Walker, he drives in hard on the left side. Trey Walker can't finish. Rebound taken away, and we get a whistle and a foul away from the ball as we get things going here in this contest. So again, Bluefield, the only team to play twice here in this tournament, as they played earlier this morning as well. And now you see in the front court, as they give it off underneath to McGinnis. He'll drive in hard, and McGinnis gets the easy layup to get things started here, the 6'8 junior. And again, this is going to be a very large Greater Beckley Christian team this year for single A ranks. I mean, they have got size across the board, and they're going to be interesting to watch as Walker takes a tough turnaround, can't get it to fall, and there's McGinnis getting his big paws on it as he tears it away. Quickly up ahead, they work. Trying to get into transition is Caden Smallwood. He'll drive baseline, whistle, and a charge called. Will wipe out the bucket for Smallwood. I mean, Smallwood, one of the returners from last year, as he had a really great season as a freshman, and looking to build upon that throughout the rest of this year, and that's what's great. They've got good guard play. They've got a lot of size on the inside, and a lot of people felt like they definitely had an outside chance of taking states last year before the season was called off. They qualified for the state tournament the night before the season ended. As driving in, whistle and a traveling call, going to go against Jayon Flack and give the ball back over here to Greater Beckley Christian on the turnover. Inside they go quickly, and there's Smallwood on the layup as he'll get his first bucket after he had it wiped away a moment ago. And now it's a quick 4-0 lead, and now another turnover for Buster Large's group. As they had their turnover problems in the first game against Shady Spring this morning as well. Obviously, like we said, a lot of new players in different spots this year after a lot of graduating players left from last year's roster. So again, a lot of bugs to work out on both ends, so nothing wrong with getting it done right now as we get a turnover here. Driving in is Flack, can't finish, but on the rebound and the putback goes Chance Johnson. So he gets on the board for his first two, and it's now a 4-2 lead for Greater Beckley Christian here in the first quarter. And if you're just joining us, these are not going to be kept track as full game scores. They are just playing individual quarters. As driving in off the steal, Logan Hyder takes a wallop as he goes to the basket, and now he'll go to the free throw line to shoot a pair. And we'll talk a little bit about each of these teams' seasons last year once we get a moment. As Hyder at the free throw line had 2 points in the first game this morning against Shady Spring as his first free throw up and good. And just so much talent that Bluefield lost from last year's team, and more importantly, the experience involved. And I tell you what, they were red hot going into tournament play with Bluefield. They won 16 in a row. Only losses were to Shady Spring, two-time defending state champion Chapmanville, and what was a wonky clunker of a game where neither team could shoot the ball to save their life that evening. And then ended up losing to Princeton before they did go on that 16-game winning streak, and were 24-3 and seemed poised to go to the state tournament after they had knocked off Shady Spring in the sectional finals, as both of them have been in the top 3 or 4 all year long. This turnaround jumper off the mark for Rose. Rebound taken out here by Bluefield, driving in, can't finish on the layup, but there's Hyder to put it back up and in off the Jalen Green miss, and the last 6 have gone now to Bluefield. Quickly the other way, they get it into the corner for Rose, now to McGinnis. McGinnis, that big 6'8 frame, goes to work, and he'll draw the foul and go to the free throw line. As B.J. Mitchell, point guard, was able to feed that down low first, and the quick pass by John Rose was able to find McGinnis, and they're going to try and set him up as often as they can throughout the season. As you see here, the putback off of Green's miss here by Hyder on that fast break attempt a moment ago, as McGinnis able to knock down the first free throw. Second free throw for McGinnis up, and he gets that one to rattle home as well. And again, to go alongside him is down low. You got 6'3" Ezra Drummiller, a senior, and there's going to be a couple other players that come along for Greater Beckley as well. Again, they just got to get themselves practice eligible before they can become able to play, as there's Jayon Flack with a three as he buries it now, still by Green. Up ahead to Johnson. He'll drive in, count it, and the foul. That's Chance Johnson with 4 points here already. He had 6 in the first game against Shady Spring, and he's inserting himself now in the early going. And again, there you see the deflection off the B.J. Mitchell pass. And quickly able to feed it over as Johnson converts the three-point play, and now Bluefield, after they had a tough go of it in the first game, you can tell they've come out with a different intensity here in this second game, and there's Rose getting himself free underneath for an easy lay-in. John Rose, 5'11" sophomore, gets his first bucket of the game, and it's now a 12-8 lead for Bluefield. This definitely been the most offense we've seen at the early stages of a quarter thus far, as Walker rejected by McGinnis out of bounds, and it'll stay with Bluefield. And Trey Walker at 6'2", trying to challenge 6'8" McGinnis, and just wasn't having any of it that time. There's going to be a couple of other big inside presences for Greater Beckley Christian that come in as the season gets going, and they are going to be a nightmare matchup on the inside. It's Justin Arvin's club, as there's an over and back violation against Bluefield, so that'll get the ball over to Greater Beckley. So we have 4:45 remaining here in the first quarter. There's Drumheller, gets it in for Mitchell. Mitchell looking, trying to find someone, but his pass is intercepted, taken away. Up ahead to Green, lost it off his foot, shovels it back for Hyder, though. Hyder will bring it back out at the top of the key, gives it over for Johnson. Now back to Hyder, cutting to the rim, and Logan Hyder. Again, only 2 points in the first game against Shady, has 6 here in the first quarter. Nice bounce pass underneath at Smallwood. Able to convert on the run out for Greater Beckley. And it's a 14-10 lead here, almost midway through the first quarter for Bluefield. Flack gets it in the corner for Hyder. Nice shovel pass underneath. Ball fake by Walker. Had it rejected, but also got a piece of his arm, and that'll send Walker to the free throw line to shoot 2. As we take a look here at our little general instant replay. On the give and go here to Hyder, and no one home. McGinnis got back late, and Hyder able to beat him to the spot and beat him to the rack for the easy 2, as first free throw up and no good for Trey Walker. Walker, 6'2" senior for the Bluefield Beavers, trying to split the free throws, and is able to get the second to fall. So 15-10 now in favor of Bluefield. Quickly, Smallwood back the other way, into the corner for Rose. Rose will launch a 3, no good off the rim. McGinnis on the rebound, and he'll go back up and put it in for his 6th point of the first quarter. 15-12 now in favor of Bluefield. It's been a fun up and down first quarter from both ends, and again, the intensity on the Greater Beckley bench and the teamwork over there already kind of shows the type of work Justin Arvin and the rest of his team have put in, and the camaraderie they have with each other. So they're already trying to implore each other at the beginning stages of just a preseason game. As that shot off the mark for Walker, up ahead to Mitchell. Mitchell in a foot race to the rim, and he's able to beat Flack there for the first 2 of the game for him. Now 15-14 in favor of Bluefield. 3:10 to go in the first quarter. Flack spins away from Mitchell. We got a whistle. And let's see what we've got here. Greater Beckley thought it was going to be a moving screen, but no, this is going to go against Mitchell, it looks like, on a push. So the ball will stay with Bluefield. Flack crosses the timeline, gets a screen up top from Walker, drives in on McGinnis, realizes that's tough territory to be in. Johnson has his shot altered and loses it out of bounds back over to Greater Beckley. And that's going to be the big difference on the inside right there with a couple of the tall trees that Greater Beckley's going to have. You're going to see a lot of altered shots throughout this season. McGinnis fumbles this one, gets it over to Rose though, and there's Rose for the lay-in. He's got 4 points now in the first quarter. And a travel in the backcourt against Bluefield. So Bluefield had themselves a great spurt early in the first quarter after falling behind, and ever since then now, Greater Beckley has reasserted themselves in control of this period. And again, each team trying to win the quarter. There's McGinnis. Kicks it out. Drumheller for three, and he banks it in. That's the third bank-in three that we've seen today, one in each game. And that gives Greater Beckley now a 4-point edge after trailing by as much as 6 not that long ago. Now Green tries to penetrate, puts up a right-handed floater, no good, gets his own rebound back, can't finish. Drumheller with a rebound, throws it out for Rose, trying to chase it down, he does. Gets it back to Mitchell. Mitchell, cross-court pass for Smallwood. Aiden Smallwood looking for help, gets a screen from McGinnis. McGinnis rolls to the rim, he'll kick it back out for Drumheller off of 1 foot, no good as he was off balance that time. Now here comes Flack back up the middle, had it poked away from behind by Smallwood and into the hands of Mitchell. Mitchell brings it back up the floor. Mitchell into the center, and we get a whistle and a foul from behind. So 1:54 to go here in the first quarter. And we get a substitution in as Drumheller will check out for Greater Beckley. And checking in will be Michael Judy, the 6'3 sophomore. Also Stephen Adair in for Bluefield, along with Fuller on those substitutions as they get it into the corner, right off the bench and right into the action. 3 on the way, no good for Judy, but rebounded by Greater Beckley. McGinnis bulls his way inside, can't finish, tries to get the rebound back. We'll get a whistle and a foul on the floor. And again, you just see right there the strength that he has is Caleb Fuller just was going for the ride that time with McGinnis as he just bulldogged his way down low to get himself into position. And this is definitely going to be high energy, high paced basketball with these two teams throughout the year. And we definitely saw it with Greater Beckley last year along with Bluefield. They love to get up and down, get these games into the 70s and the 80s if they can, as Smallwood's 3 no good. Rebound fought for underneath by Judy, still loose. McGinnis hits the deck and comes up with it, and it'll be a reset on the possession. Over to Rose, he'll go with a shot put 3, no good, and a whistle and a foul underneath. It appears will go against Greater Beckley Christian. And they're going to get a push against McGinnis, it appears, and it will be on him. As we said, though, not keeping track of fouls or how many or penalties or things of that nature here. We said not going to keep track of the score, are they, throughout. Again, I'll kind of update it as we go along as to where we are in the overall score, but nevertheless not going to do that here today. They're just playing individual quarters, then resetting each time as Fuller misses with a left-handed floater. Outlet pass almost stolen, now loose on the floor. Rose rips it away from Flack. But we get a whistle, and do we have a foul or no here? Looked like we were heading for a jump ball momentarily. And it looks as if they're going to get the foul on Rose that time, so it'll give it back over to Bluefield, trailing by 4 here in the first quarter. And Bluefield won the first quarter against Shady Spring 12-10, but then lost the second quarter 14-9, lost the third quarter 17-13, and then lost the fourth quarter 13-4. And lost overall 59-43 in that first game earlier today, as Green with a nice drive and finishes with the right hand. He's got his first bucket of the game and makes it 19-17 with 40 seconds to go here in the first quarter. McGinnis bodies his way down low and has it knocked away by Adair. Ball loose underneath. Looked like last touch by Greater Beckley, and good eye by the official underneath the basket. Able to see that as both players were flying out of bounds with it, and Adair was able to get the deflection off of Greater Beckley, and that'll be a 30-second timeout, so we'll stay here. Again, we talked about Bluefield and where they kind of came from last year and how they seem poised to go to the state tournament. Well, Greater Beckley Christian was in the state tournament. They went 20-4 last year. They started the season 1-2 and 5-3 after they lost to Woodrow Wilson, and then won 8 in a row before losing to Charleston Catholic, stubbed their toe there on February 4th, but then won their last 7 to end the season. So they won 15 of their last 16 games, including beating still defending state champion Webster County 80-64 in the regional final in order to go to the state tournaments. Webster County still technically the defending state champions, but they were eliminated last year in the regional championship by Greater Beckley. And I still remember watching that game the night that it happened with Bob Bolin on the call here at Greater Beckley, and they were even talking during that broadcast that it could possibly be the last one that they had that year, and little did we know what we were in store for at that point in time, as AAA and Single A were able to finish their regional tournaments. Double A, unfortunately, on the day that they were going to take place is when the season came to a halt and eventually came to a cancellation. So we're nearly a year after that now, and we're finally back to high school basketball as Fuller gets the rebound off the missed 3, and he puts it up and in. Caleb Fuller with 2, as he had 5 in the first game. Down to 12 seconds to go here in the first quarter. We're all square at 19 apiece. Can Greater Beckley win the quarter here? Smallwood for 3, and he buries it from the top of the key. And that will do it for the first quarter of action. And what a great action-packed 8 minutes that was, as Greater Beckley wins the first quarter 22-19, and will reset and be back after this as you are watching the Little General preseason shootout with us right here live on Video Productions.
Stores knows West Virginia, but what some may not know is what LG is doing in your communities. And I'm here to tell you how Little General, with the strength of their 100+ stores, is helping to enrich lives and empower families in West Virginia. Like the Norma May Huggins Cancer Research Endowment Fund, which is fighting to cure cancer every day right here in West Virginia. Locally owned and operated, LG has always been there and always will be. Little General stores, committed to West Virginians. Boom!
Getting ready for the start of quarter number 2 here from Greater Beckley Christian High School. Chris Kidd here with you, as we also have Andrew Bowl and Emma Gardner doing our camera work today, along with Garrett Lester, our engineer for today's broadcast. And we got Bob Bolin patrolling the area. Again, he's helping out and really doing a good job of making sure everything's safe today, as they were wanting to make sure that these kids got a chance to come in and compete. But he's going around making sure that everyone complies with the WVSSAC rules of making sure that if they're here to watch the game, family members, what have you, that they do have their mask on. And again, everyone's still adjusting to maybe some of the rules and things like that. And it feels like we're getting more progress every day with vaccines and cases coming down and everything else. Everyone's just got to stay vigilant a little bit longer. Again, we just got to get to the finish line of this. Hopefully everyone will stay okay. And, the fact that we're being able to do these things, just have to make sure that everyone's complying with the rules. And thankfully everyone, whenever Coach Boland's been going around and telling, everyone's been very gracious about complying and putting their mask on if they had it off or had it down by just forgetting. So, again, good job by him and everybody else, and hopefully everybody else will do the same as we go throughout this season so that none of these teams have to pause or anything of that nature. As we get a charge to start the second quarter, as Chance Johnson stands in and takes the punishment from Caden Smallwood as he tried to get to the basket. And that's the second time now Smallwood has had a basket wiped out because of a charging call. See it here on our Little General instant replay. Or actually, it was Rose on that attempt, as Rose had that basket taken away. It's actually the second basket Rose has had taken away from him on a charge. So it all worked out, just different player, but looked as if Johnson was in position that time to take the charge. And a good call by the officiating crew as full court pressure on, and Rose gets his hand in, slaps it away from Fuller, but it will stay with Bluefield. After that exciting first quarter, see what's in store now here in the second. They get it into Flack, but Flack looked like he turned to run with it before he had control of the ball and lost it off his knee. And a turnover on Bluefield. So they'll get the ball back over here for Greater Beckley. Smallwood, who knocked down the three to win the first quarter for Greater Beckley. Gives it off to Mitchell, now to Rose, now back to Smallwood. Penetrates in, nice dish underneath to an open man, and layup is good for Todd Nikolic, a 5'10 senior. And he gets his first bucket of the game. Now Smallwood with a steal on Green, one-on-one to the bucket, but can't finish as he got a little too far underneath, and now here comes a chance for Bluefield on the other end. Hyder puts it up, counted and one for Logan Hyder as he continues his hot first half. He's now got 8 points here in the first 9 minutes of this contest. This has been fun back and forth action again. We saw a lot of defense in the first two games, and especially in the second game with Parkersburg South and GW, as GW lost 3 of the 4 quarters, but overall still was able to edge out Parkersburg South 49-46 in that game. Again, GW had one big blowout quarter where they won by 10, and then Parkersburg South won each of their quarters by 3 or less, so that's how GW ended up with the overall point total differential on Parkersburg South in that game. And coming up next is our final game of the day as Rose pulls, pops from 3, and he'll bury it. So John Rose now with 7 points. But next we've got Greenbrier Easton Capital coming your way. And now an offensive foul as Flack runs into Mitchell. And Mitchell had beaten him to the spot, so that'll be a turnover, and it'll go over now to Greater Beckley with a 5-3 lead here in the second quarter. Smallwood will walk it across the timeline. Picked up by Hyder. They'll get it over to Rose, now down low for Judy. Tried to swing it back to Rose, but had it stolen away by Hyder. Hyder now across the timeline, dribbles to his right, gets to the corner, now finds Fuller cutting to the basket. What a dish by Hyder. And Fuller able to finish for his 4th point now. 5-5 here in the second quarter. 6:08 to go before the half as Rose gets free, hits another 3. John Rose, back-to-back threes here in this second quarter, giving Greater Beckley the lead back. That's now 4 3-pointers here in the first half for Greater Beckley. Flack kicks it back out front. Now to Green, his floater on the way, too strong, rebounded by Mitchell, but he spins into trouble and it's stolen back by Fuller. Gets it down underneath, the layup is up and good for Trey Walker. Walker now with 3 points, and it's an 8-7 Greater Beckley lead here in the second. Smallwood tries to get inside, but has it stolen away. Now here comes Fuller up the floor on the right side, races in and gets the friendly roll. And a nice little kiss off the glass for him there. He's got 6 points, and Bluefield takes the lead. And now it appears to be a turnover, but no, they're going to say last touched by Bluefield. So it'll stay here with Greater Beckley. As Drumheller will check back in. Now you see here on our little general instant replay the steal. And the great find here on the run out by Fuller to get that little bit of English on the ball and lay it in as Drumheller is just walloped on that attempt by Walker. Again, Walker just came in and hammered Drumheller on that. So he'll go to the free throw line to shoot a pair. Drumheller hit a 3 back in the first quarter. Has free throw rim in and out, no good. So he looks to tie the game up here in the second quarter. Again, Greater Beckley winning the first period, 22-19. And now we are all square at 9 apiece here in quarter number 2. Get it into the left corner for Adair. He'll drive in, tried to find the banker, but hit it off the back of the iron, no good. Rebounded underneath by Greater Beckley. And now foul in the backcourt as Walker bumps into Drumheller again. Those two are like magnets right now. Can't seem to get away from each other. And it'll be Greater Beckley ball. Looking to take the lead back here in the second quarter. Mitchell gets by his defender, pulls up in the paint, short with it, rebound tipped out long, taken away by Hyder. He'll race in on the left side, a lot of contact as he can't finish, but he's fouled on the way up. And that'll send him to the free throw line with 4:49 to go in the second quarter as Trey Walker now limping over towards the bench. And boy, you hope he's okay as he just buries his head down into the seat over on the far side, as we saw this with GW and Zane McCarty in the last game for GW, and now you see this with Walker and Bluefield here. Man, just really hope that these kids are going to be okay getting into the season, as it looks like he's holding his right ankle right now, so he may have rolled up on his the same way that McCarty did on his in the last game, as Hyder sends the first free throw around the world and it falls home. As I said, these kids have waited so long to get back on the floor and get the opportunity to play again in this type of a setting, and you just really hope it doesn't get taken away from them in a preseason injury like this. So we're definitely wishing for the best for all of them right now that have been dealing with a couple of injuries today, as Hyder hits both free throws, and he's 5 for 5 from the line here in the first half. So 11-9 in favor of Bluefield, and we'll try and monitor Walker's progress as he's over on the bench right now. As Fuller gets the steal, he'll bring it across the timeline, being triple teamed at the moment. Somehow got his way out of jail by getting at the flack. Now over to Hyder. Hyder one-on-one with McGinnis. Again, might have the foot speed, but if McGinnis gets him to the rack here, I said it's likely going to get pinned, and Hyder ends up traveling with it. So definitely not the one-on-one situation you want if you're 5'10" against 6'8". And you can tell Hyder tried his best to use his foot speed to get by McGinnis, but McGinnis able to stay in front and cause the travel as we get a whistle and a foul on the way to the rim. It looks like it'll be out of bounds for Greater Beckley with 4:20 to go in the second quarter. As Smallwood, nice bounce pass into McGinnis, and he was grabbed on the way up. And I'd say you're going to see a lot of teams do that to McGinnis this year. And, you know, you just look at him, and you can tell he's going to be a foul trouble machine for a lot of other squads. I mean, having to stop him in single A ball or double A perhaps is just going to be a very difficult task. But not this time. It's coming in. R.J. Harrison able to strip it and knock it away from McGinnis. Up ahead, three on the way. No good for Flack. And foul away from the ball. That'll give it back over to Bluefield. We close in on the midway point of the second quarter, 11-9. Bluefield leads it after losing the first quarter by 3 on a last-second 3 by Caden Smallwood. Smallwood stutter steps, gets across the timeline, and it's tripped on the way up. Won't call that a shooting foul, but it'll be out of bounds. It'll stay with Greater Beckley. He's looking for a trigger man, and now here comes Smallwood over after taking that tumble. Smallwood gets it into Drumheller, puts up a little floater but can't come up with it, and now whistling a foul away from the ball against Greater Beckley. So the whistles have definitely started to come out a little bit more here in the second quarter as opposed to the first. As teams have definitely been a little bit chippy today in their first contest against someone other than their teammates, and it's understandable. And you almost kind of been locked up just playing against your own guys for a long time, and now you're getting out here against somebody else, so the energy is definitely going to rise, especially as we head to the regular season, as Caleb Fuller gets a little floater to go. He's got 8 points now here in this first half. 4-point lead now for Bluefield in the second quarter, and McGinnis hammered again on the way up, and he'll go to the free throw line to shoot a pair with 3:28 to go here in the first half. Again, halftime, they will have about a 4-minute break and then come back to action. And if there's time before the 4 o'clock game gets started, and these two teams will run through a few sets and a few late game situations in order to give them an opportunity to try and get some more practice in. As we said, that none of these teams have really had a whole lot of time to prepare for the season. Only about a 2-week window before they start playing, as McGinnis misses on both free throws. So the crew here at Greater Beckley has been very kind to allow these teams to try and run through a couple of things after the game's over with, just to try and get used to what they may do during the season. As Fuller can't get an up and under attempt to go, and nice save by Smallwood as he goes behind his back and gets up the floor. As Greater Beckley's gone cold here in the last couple of minutes, but still trailing only by 4 here in the second quarter. Smallwood gets all the way in, but it looked like he took an extra step, and he sure did. He had that third step pop in there, and he's called for the travel. As subs will come in here for Bluefield, it'll be Johnson and Green checking back in for the Beavers, as Fuller and Adair will go to the bench. It'll be Flack across the timeline here. Smallwood will pick him up and get it over to Green on the far side, and poked away and out of bounds by Braylon Arvin, the 5'10 junior. You'd start to see some playing time here in the second quarter. Again, going to be a lot of substitutions in these games, just try and get a look at everybody, maybe some different lineups and what works, what gels. There's Green and Arvin going hard at each other here on the defensive end, and Arvin's going to get called for a reach-in. And I said maybe it's a good thing they're not counting fouls in some of these, because we'd have probably likely been in the bonus a long time ago. We'd be here for a long time right now if we definitely had the bonus in play on a couple of these games. There's a big bump, but nothing called. As Green, being guarded by Arvin, gets a screen up top, swings it over to Hyder. Hyder for 3, no good, short. Rebounded by Flack. What a dish underneath to Harrison. R.J. Harrison able to finish underneath, and that's going to draw a timeout from Greater Beckley Christian with 2:24 to go here in the second quarter. It's Bluefield leading Greater Beckley 15-9. We'll be back after this as you're watching the Little General preseason shootout with us right here live on Video Productions.
The earth beneath my feet is turning like a wheel and beating like a drum.
Your first set of wheels didn't come with complications or strings or hassles. It can be that way again.
Now that the world keeps turning around.
Tire Pros. Hassle-free, guaranteed.
Welcome back, everybody, to Greater Beckley Christian High School. Chris Kidd here with you, and we take a look here at our Little General instant replay. As you see, Hyder going for 3, coming up short, but then the strong rebound by Flack and the great find on the wraparound pass to R.J. Harrison, which ignited that timeout from Greater Beckley as Mitchell's pass is kicked, but it'll stay with Greater Beckley Christian here as it was deflected by Bluefield. Again, it's been a while since Greater Beckley put some points on the board. I believe the last point score was on the John Ross 3 several minutes ago, but there the drought ends as Ezra Drumheller gets the short one-hander to fall, as he's now got 6 points for the game. 15-11, Bluefield leads it as we close in on 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Overall right now, if we're counting all the points, it will be a 1-point Bluefield lead after Greater Beckley won the first quarter by 3. Right now, Bluefield ahead by 4 here in the second quarter. And it'll be Hyder to go back to the free throw line where he's been perfect today. He's 5 for 5 overall. He's got 11 points in this game, and there is the announcer jinx popping up as that one rolls in and out on him. I will admit, I've been doing this for about 15 or so years now. It is incredible how many times as soon as you bring something up that is going on, that it ends up going the opposite way. I still remember announcing a Little League All-Star game where I ruined a kid's no-hitter by talking about it in the final inning, and my collar guy literally berated me on the air for even bringing it up. And you know what? He was probably right to. I shouldn't have brought it up. I said, that's the old saying. You never talk about a no-hitter or perfect game while it's going on. And, you know, I certainly brought it up at the wrong time because very next pitch the kid got a hit. So, again, it must have been a lane violation on the first attempt, which gave Hyder a chance, but he misses on the second attempt. It's a 16-11 now in favor of Bluefield here in the second quarter. Down to 1:43 to go before halftime. It's Mitchell trying to get away from Flack. Finally gets a screen from Drumheller. Now finds an opening, pulls up, and count it for B.J. Mitchell. He's got 4 points now. 16-13 in favor of Bluefield here in the second quarter. There's Hyder left alone. He'll pop a three in and out. Hairston on the putback and can't get it to fall. Gets it back again. Can't get it to go again. Trying for a fourth time. And we're going to get a whistle and a foul underneath. So again, R.J. Hairston, several opportunities there, but could not put the ball home. And then finally we get a whistle and a foul on the back end of it. So it won't be a shooting foul, but Bluefield will maintain the possession. Flack gets it into Hyder, cutting in, runs into Drumheller, draws the contact, draws the foul, and an M1 opportunity for the 5'10 senior, as he has been outstanding here in this first half for Bluefield. After a quiet game against Shady Spring, as you see it here on the Little General instant replay, and Hyder went after the contact, was able to absorb it, and now a chance for an and one, and he finishes it. 15 points now in the first half for Hyder, and now a chance for more as he comes up with a steal. Drives in on Drumheller, tries to go up and under, but throws it off the side of the backboard as he got a little too far in on that attempt, but a nice save by Flack. Gets it back to Johnson, and Johnson has the lane part like the Red Sea as he goes down and lays it in. Now Mitchell tries all the way in and runs over top of Hairston, and a charge called. Just a little out of control that time down, and Hairston was able to stand in and take the charge. So Bluefield has flipped things here in this second quarter on Greater Beckley Christian. Now hold an 8-point lead with 45 seconds left before the half. Johnson out front. Gets it over to Green. Green drives into the middle. Looked like he almost got hooked by Drumheller. Now it's taken away by McGinnis. Run out to Mitchell. Mitchell, tough layup on the left side. Can't get it to go. Now here's Smallwood back. He gets it, and he gets an and one opportunity as they call the foul on Hyder. Great hustle end to end on that possession. And it ends with Smallwood now on an opportunity to get into double figures. He's got 9 points now for the game. As his free throw is good. Now 21-16 in favor of Bluefield as they appear that they will win this second quarter. After Greater Beckley won the first quarter 22-19. Pass stolen away after a tough entry pass, and now Rose has it deflected away from him. Green gets it up ahead to Johnson with 5 seconds left, and score it. Counted and one for Chance Johnson as he challenged McGinnis at the rim and was able to get by him for the layup and the foul. Johnson with 9 points here in the first half. And there you see, maybe it just slipped out of Rose's hands. Thought maybe Smallwood got a piece of it, or Johnson got a piece of it, at first. But it looks like maybe it just slipped out of his hands as Johnson hits the free throw. 2 seconds left in the half. Mitchell will pull from three, no good. And that will do it for the first 16 minutes of play here in game number 3 of the Little General preseason shootout as Greater Beckley wins the first quarter 22-19. Beckley wins the second quarter 24-16. Well, we'll step aside for a 4-minute break and be back after this for the start of quarter number 3 as you are watching the Little General preseason shootout with us right here live on Video Productions.
Stores knows West Virginia, but what some may not know is what LG is doing in your communities. And I'm here to tell you how Little General, with the strength of their 100+ stores, General Stores knows West Virginia, but what some may not know is what LG is doing in your communities. And I'm here to tell you how Little General, with the strength of their 100+ stores, is helping to enrich lives and empower families in West Virginia. Like the Norma May Huggins Cancer Research Endowment Fund, which is fighting to cure cancer every day right here in West Virginia. Locally owned and operated, LG has always been there and always will be. Little General Stores, committed to West Virginians. Boom!
An injury at any age can be a game changer. But Marshall Orthopedics, the area's only comprehensive sports medicine practice, is ready to get you off the bench and back in the game. Marshall Orthopedics takes care of the herd. Let us take care of you.
I'm Stuart Caldwell. For more than 40 years, I and my firm have vindicated the rights of individuals hurt by defective drugs, defective chemicals, and other products. Now I'm teaming with Booth to take on the big drug companies to vindicate the rights of children born with NAS. There are significant legal proceedings that could affect you and your child's legal rights.
If you're the parent or guardian of a child who you believe was born dependent on opioids, you need to act now.
The earth beneath my feet is turning like a wheel and beating like a drum.
Your first set of wheels didn't come with complications, or strings, or hassles. It can be that way again.
Now that the world keeps turning around.
Tire Pros. Hassle-free, guaranteed.
Coach Bob Huggins here at your local Little General store. As I travel this great state, it's nice to know that almost anywhere I go, there's a local Little General nearby. So the next time you're on the road, look for the Little General sign and tell them Hugs.
The entire time. That's why I hate it butchering them. They'll be sitting there eating like.
General Stores knows West Virginia, but what some may not know is what LG is doing in your communities. And I'm here to tell you how Little General, with the strength of their 100+ stores, is helping to enrich lives and empower families in West Virginia. Like the Norma May Huggins Cancer Research Endowment Fund, which is fighting to cure cancer every day right here in West Virginia. Locally owned and operated, LG has always been there and always will be. Little General Stores, committed to West Virginians.
Getting ready for the start of quarter number 3 here from Greater Beckley Christian High School in our third game of the day in this Little General preseason shootout. Chris Kidd here with you, with Andrew Bolin and Emma Gardner, our camera operators for today's contest, and Garrett Lester, our engineer, on hand here with me today from Greater Beckley Christian High School. As we look at the first half scoring, we'll add it up here and run through that with you in just a moment. It appears to be Logan Hyder that led the way for everybody in the first half, but a good up and down affair on both ends. Again, both quarters very competitive. A lot of energy, a lot of scoring on both ends. And a lot of fast breaking that we hadn't really seen in the first two games, which were much more defensive. But this game has definitely turned into more of an offensive show than what we saw the first two times around. And Bluefield definitely looks like a different team after Shady Spring really put the clamps on them in the first game today, winning that 59-43 Again, not counting overall score, but as I was adding them up, you can't help it if you're sitting here. You just kind of want to see what it was. But they've definitely looked a lot more lively here in the second game. As you look at the scoring, Bluefield leading all scores is Logan Hyder with 15 points, Chance Johnson with 10, Caleb Fuller with 8, Trey Walker with 3, Jalen Green and R.J. Harrison with 2 apiece. Then for Greater Beckley, you have Caden Smallwood and John Rose with 10 points, McGinnis and Drumheller with 6 points, Mitchell with 4, and Nikolic with 2. As McGinnis comes up with a steal, tries to throw it out for B.J. Mitchell as it's fumbled, but he gets it back. Now out to Drumheller. He'll take a straight on 3 off the back iron, no good. McGinnis volleyballs it around, gets it back, and then he's rejected by Chance Johnson. Ball comes free, though, and right to Caden Smallwood for the layup. So another frantic possession, but it ends in a Smallwood bucket. He's now got a dozen to lead Greater Beckley. Again, if you're trying to keep track of the overall here right now, it is Beckley leading, or Bluefield leading by 3 overall, and Smallwood misses on the fast break attempt. Now here comes Green back the other way, and it's beat off the backboard by McGinnis. Up ahead, Smallwood will try it again. This time he will finish with the left hand, and the first 4 points of the third quarter go over to Greater Beckley. They get it over to the right side. Out front, almost stolen by Mitchell as he got his hands in on it. Now they swing it over for Looney, down low for Martin. Martin up top for Green. He's picked up by Mitchell, and Green will retreat to reset the offense. And Looney, left wing, back up top. Green will reset. Again, the regular season for high school basketball will begin on Friday, and a 5-second call goes against Green as Mitchell was able to stay with him and hound him and cause the turnover. So ball back over to Greater Beckley Christian. And a chance to take the overall lead on this possession. Again, if you're keeping track of all the points from all the quarters, it's a 1-point Bluefield lead at the moment. That pass deflected away by Younger. Jalen Younger chases it down, able to save it. Now he gets it up ahead to Green. Green up the left side, up top for Johnson. Now they go down low for Martin, turns around and sees McGinnis and quickly gets out of there. And it might be the smartest play we've seen to go up against McGinnis thus far. Now you get Green trying to slice his way through but can't find an opening. Now it goes back at Mitchell again, still can't find an opening. Back up top. Dribbling in and cut off is Younger. They'll reset the offense now as Bluefield yet to score here in the third quarter. Again, we saw the scoring in the first 2 quarters, but now this third quarter turning into more of a defensive contest. We're seeing it ramp up on both ends as Martin will pull the trigger, and Martin will connect. So Nick Martin with his first 2 points of the day. Didn't score in the first game against Shady Spring, but gets a bucket there as Drumheller drives in, gets it over to McGinnis on the left block. Can't find help as he doesn't have a shot. Now finds Rose. Back to McGinnis. Big man will go for 3 and count it for him. So Jordan McGinnis has the inside game and shows off the outside game to go with it. Again, only a junior as well. 7-2, Greater Beckley now. Here in this third quarter, a nice pull up by Will Looney as he gets his first basket of the day after not scoring in the first contest. That cuts the lead to 7-4 in favor of Greater Beckley here in the third quarter. Again, coming up at approximately 4 p.m., we will have Greenbrier East taking on the Capital Cougars. So stay with us for our final game of the day, coming your way at 4 p.m. as Drumheller gets inside, puts up a right-handed floater, no good. Rebound knocked loose from behind and going to get a whistle and a foul called on Greater Beckley Christian, as it looks like they're going to whistle that on Rose, and it is. So the possession will go over to Beckley nonetheless, or Bluefield nonetheless, excuse me. That's Flack. We'll check back into the game, and Green will go to the bench to take a breather. As we said, the regular season begins on Friday in the state of West Virginia for high school boys basketball, and we'll have 7 games on tap for you on video productions, one of them being girls contest at 5 o'clock, one more at 7 o'clock, and then the other 5 contests will begin at 7:30 p.m. I'll be in Chapmanville for one of those 7 games as the 2-time defending state champion Chapmanville Tigers take on the Polka Dots in what should be an interesting clash. Again, a lot of key names going to be missing from those Chapmanville Tigers state championship teams from the last few years and state runner-up team, but going to be interesting to see how Brad Napper and company reset with a new set of players getting more playing time and some new players on the roster. As you get a run out here, Looney off of 1 foot, a little bit of an awkward layup, but he was able to get it to go. As he didn't want to take the extra step or potentially have a travel on his hands. So good show of athleticism there by Looney, still to be able to control himself and get that layup to go. 7-6 now here in the third quarter in favor of Greater Beckley Christian. Mitchell gets it on the left wing, gets a screen from McGinnis. Now a give and go to the big guy, and McGinnis will finish at the rim. He's now got 11 in the ball game. The lead back up to 3 here for Greater Beckley with 3:17 to go in the third quarter. And go to Martin. He'll take a step back on Drumheller, and Nick Martin able to hit. So back-to-back jumpers go for him, and now the lead down to 1 here in the third quarter. Down low, they feed McGinnis again. Gets double team, turnaround, won't fall, but he's fouled on the way. So he'll go back to the free throw line to shoot 2. As he's 2 for 4 from the line today. Made his first 2, missed his last 2. Let's see if he's able to increase this 1-point lead on this trip for Greater Beckley. And first one rattles in and out. Again, he's got good touch at the line. All 3 of his misses have been a little unkind to him with rattle outs and back rims and so forth. This one misses off the front rim, almost got tipped back in accidentally by Bluefield. But they secure the rebound, and now a chance to take the lead here in the third quarter as they've trailed the entire way in the third. They go inside for Johnson. Got stripped, but for good reason, as Rose got a piece of his arm on the way up. And they're going to call this a side out. No, they're going to call this a 2-shot foul. So Johnson will go to the free throw line here to shoot a pair. Johnson had a big first half, had 5 points in each quarter, so 10 overall for him. They try to get everyone situated on the free throw line. Now they finally do. His first attempt off the marks. That's the first miss from the line today for Chance Johnson. He was 2 for 2 before that miss. Second free throw short. Rebound tipped into the air, and Rose comes away with it. Now Rose at the left side. Back out front. Now ball knocked loose. Smallwood gets it over to B.J. Mitchell. Mitchell trying to penetrate in, gives it off to Smallwood. And now we get a timeout by Coach Arvin with 2:25 to go here in this third quarter. So we'll step aside as well and be back right after this as you're watching the Little General preseason shootout with us right here live on Video Productions.
The earth beneath my feet is turning like a wheel and beating like a drum.
Your first set of wheels didn't come with complications, or strings, or hassles. It can be that way again.
Now that the world keeps turning around.
Tire Pros. Hassle-free, guaranteed.
Welcome back, everybody. Greater Beckley Christian High School for the Little General preseason shootout. Chris Kidd here with you, courtside. Alongside me, my engineer, Garrett Lester, for today's action. Andrew Boland and Emma Gardner, our camera operators, for all 4 games today. In this preseason shootout, trying to get a lot of these teams ready for the regular season, which begins on Friday. So get ready for all-out basketball assault in the state of West Virginia come March 5th, as we're all excited to get going this year. And it'll be a quicker season, but it'll still be fun nonetheless. Just getting to see the road to Charleston take place, whereas we didn't get a chance to last year. Again, just kind of the eerie parallels to the fact that we're almost to a year to the day almost, where the season was shut down as Smallwood takes it inside, and he gets the bucket and the foul. He's got 16 points now, 6 of those this quarter. As we mentioned in the first 2 games, we'd normally be getting ready for sectional and regional play around this time. Some sectional games would have already been played. But now, because of the delay to the start of the season, state tournament won't be until May this year. But just the fact that we'll be able to have one, it appears, looks to be a very positive sign for a lot of these young men and young women in the state getting a chance to play after having the season end so abruptly and so cruelly last year, with obviously the pandemic affecting all of it. As the tie-up will keep possession with Bluefield. It's 11-8 in favor of Greater Beckley Christian here in the third quarter. Overall, if you're keeping track of the points at home, it is a 2-point lead for Bluefield. After they won the second quarter by 8, pass deflected, stolen away, and a foul in the backcourt will go against Looney as he reached in on Smallwood and probably did keep Greater Beckley from putting 2 more points on the board there on a run out. As you get substitutions coming in now for Bluefield. It's Hyder and Hairston and Green all check back into the contest. Nikolic will inbound on the far side, gets it into Smallwood. Final 90 seconds of the third quarter. Smallwood gets by Hyder, but his floater is well too strong. Rebound fought for underneath. Rose able to dig his way out of there and comes up with the ball. He'll put up a one-hander on the way, but short. Rebound comes into the hands of Hairston. Now here comes Bluefield looking to cut into this 3-point deficit, and a whistle and a foul on the way in. As Flack was trying to get to the baseline, did so, and was bumped on the way in. Jayon Flack has 3 points thus far in this game. He had 6 in the first game against Shady Spring this morning. And they're going to say actually it's a non-shooting foul this time, so they'll inbound underneath. They get it in quickly to Green, and Green gets free for the layup. So Jalen Green now with 4 points in the game. He had 13 in the first game against Shady Spring. Down to 55 seconds. Nice spin move by Smallwood. Feeds it back to Nikolic. Now finds Mitchell, and going to be a travel on B.J. Mitchell. So that'll get the ball back over to Bluefield. It's 49.3 seconds to go in the third quarter. Mitchell picking up Flack, full court. Able to get by and give it off to Hyder. Gets a screen up top. Hyder. Cross-court pass, dangerous one. Mitchell got hands on the ball and was able to deflect it out of bounds. That'll stay with Bluefield with 37.4 seconds to go. Bluefield trying to come from behind and steal this third quarter late. As Arvin will check back in, Rose will go to the bench. Johnson will inbound. As Greater Beckley won the first quarter, Bluefield won the second quarter, so these two teams trying to find an edge here with a 2-1 advantage in winning quarters as we go to the fourth, and now a reach-in foul will go against Greater Beckley as they got it down low to Hairston, but he was hacked. 29.7 seconds now left in the third. Flack, what a look underneath as Hairston came charging in late. And Flack gave a nice look away, didn't stare him down, and was able to get him to the bucket and get the easy 2 as Bluefield now has the lead at 12-11 here in the third, and a foul out front on Hyder. as he basically rode Smallwood to the ground that time. So it could come down to the final shot of this quarter to see who wins the third period of action. Smallwood was the man who broke the tie at the end of the first quarter with a long three. Now he'll drive in, puts up a floater, whistle, and a charge will be called on Smallwood as Harrison once again stands in, takes a second charge of the game. Now Greater Beckley going to try and force a turnover here as Green gets it up ahead, was open for three but wants to wait. And now whistling a foul out front. And and the Greater Beckley bench said, why are you fouling? There's no penalty right now. Again, Arvin using his head. Again, that is something you would do in a end-of-game situation, obviously. So nothing wrong with what he was doing, but even the bench and the coaches saying there's no penalty. But they are going to actually put it into a one-on-one here. So maybe Arvin was using his head more than the bench thought in that situation. Now, I don't really think that they do have one-on-ones or anything in these quarters. I just think they want to work on situational things right here. So just for the sake of argument, they're going to put him in the one-on-one since it was a foul, because that's what really the coaches want to work on just as much as seeing how their kids are playing and stacking up right now. They want to see how they react to certain situations. So I think the officials just kind of converged on that and said, you know what, let's have it as a one-on-one and see how they play it out. Hyder with 16 points now and has 17 as he hits both free throws. Down to 4 seconds. Smallwood, tightrope sideline, gets in the front court. Tough three on the way, short. Rebound put back up and in, and count the layup at the buzzer for Andy Epling, the 5'8 sophomore. But Bluefield able to hang on and win the third quarter, 14-13. And they will take a 6-point edge overall into the final 8 minutes of play. As we'll be back after this, you're watching the Little General preseason shootout with us right here live on Video Productions.
Stores knows West Virginia, but what some may not know is what LG is doing in your communities. And I'm here to tell you how Little General, with the strength of their 100+ stores, is helping to enrich lives and empower families in West Virginia. Like the Norma May Huggins Cancer Research Endowment Fund, which is fighting to cure cancer every day right here in West Virginia. Locally owned and operated, LG has always been there and always will be. Little General stores, committed to West Virginians. Boom!
Getting ready for the start of quarter number 4 here from Greater Beckley Christian High School in our third game of 4 in the Little General Shootout on this Saturday afternoon. Chris Kidd here with you, Andrew Bolin and Emma Gardner, our camera operators for today's games, and Garrett Lester, our engineer. As we look through the scoring in each of the quarters, Greater Beckley Christian won the first quarter 22-19 before Bluefield stormed back, won the second quarter 24-16, and then once again able to make a late charge in the third quarter and win the third quarter 14-13. So overall right now, Bluefield, if you're keeping track of the overall points, it is a 6-point lead for Bluefield heading into the final 8 minutes of play. And again, this after they got beat by 16 overall in the first preseason game today against Shady Spring. In the second game with Parkersburg South and George Washington, tight defensive affair where Parkersburg South won 3 of the 4 quarters, but George Washington still won overall 49-46 after winning the second quarter 19-9. They were able to hold that advantage and lose the other 3 quarters by very tight margins. Now Greater Beckley looks inside from McGinnis. He'll pull up from the left elbow. It's short, and it'll be out of bounds over to Bluefield. As they get it up ahead, Green finds Fuller, but almost intercepted by Mitchell. That's Green trying to get away. Finally gives it off to Johnson. Johnson gets it over right side for Jameer Dow, who's checked in for the first time in this game. Now to Fuller. Fuller gets into the lane, pulls up short. McGinnis gets the rebound and going to get a foul on Johnson as he came crashing in. So they'll go over here to Greater Beckley as John Rose checks back in, and that'll send Smallwood maybe to the bench. As Coach Arvin talking with Smallwood now, just about maybe a couple passes here and there as that ball knocked out of bounds. They say last touched by Bluefield as Mitchell able to fight it away from Fuller. As Nikolic gets it into the middle for Mitchell. Mitchell works his way up the center of the floor. Now gives it over to Epling. Epling in the left corner, back out to Mitchell. It's 1 minute gone here in the fourth quarter. Epling now will drive baseline, puts up a tough floater, no good off the back iron. Rebound comes down to Fuller. Fuller swings it over. Green, 3 on the way, and count it for Jalen Green. He's got 7 points now. And the first points of the fourth quarter go to Bluefield as Mitchell across the timeline, gives it over to Epling. Epling over to the right, now back up top for Mitchell. It's Mitchell waiting to get the call from the bench, and now they get into their offense. So swing it over to Rose. Rose gets free for 3, but short off the side of the rim. Rebound comes out long, controlled by Greater Beckley. Epling back to Mitchell up top. 6:15 to go in the contest. Back to Rose. He'll try another one. This time he put too much mustard on it and fired it over the rim. Rebound comes down to the Beavers. Here they come. Fuller on the full run as he's hit from behind. And actually going to say clean block, but out of bounds. Last touch by Greater Beckley Christian. Thought at first they were going to whistle a foul, but they said it was a clean block. But nevertheless out of bounds off the Crusaders. As Mitchell now will check out of the game as Smallwood re-enters. Mitchell gets an applause from his teammates as he goes to the bench, and now a steal from McGinnis. McGinnis takes it up the floor himself. A lot of contact there, and they're going to get the charge as Fuller stood in front of that freight train and was able to survive. As McGinnis is coming full steam ahead, and see Fuller looks over at the bench, and the bench is even laughing because they're like, wow, dude, you're braver than I guess we might have thought. He's definitely braver than I am. I would have definitely just had an escort line for Jordan McGinnis to the rim. I would have rolled out the red carpet to make sure I didn't get nailed on that situation, but Fuller stood in and was able to get the possession back for his ball club. But now turnover on the other edge. You see it here on our video productions instant replay. Oh boy, and he did take a lot of punishment in order to get that possession back, so good on him. And Smallwood gets it over to Epling. Epling lost control of it, trying to shovel it back out, but now we'll get a whistle and a foul. There'll be a reach in there against Bluefield. Smallwood will inbound underneath his own basket. They lob it in now to McGinnis. Goes to work on Johnson, and another charge called as Johnson did a nice job of positioning himself right behind McGinnis, and as soon as he lowered that shoulder to turn, Johnson went down and was able to draw the charge. And obviously there's been that debate over whether or not there should be a block or a charge call, since it seems to be such a subjective call, and I'm not questioning that call at all. That definitely looked like a charge by the book from what we saw, as have the last couple, but you know, you definitely hear a lot of that debate, especially with the NBA and flopping and things like that, and even in college ball with some flopping. It gets to the point where it's kind of difficult to tell what's a charge or a block, and there's been a lot of people saying maybe just take it out of the game altogether since it's such a judgment call, and I'm not here to say one way or the other. I was someone that enjoyed taking charges because I wasn't good at much else, so I had to make sure I was productive somehow. But, yeah, it is definitely an interesting debate as to whether or not it should be something that is held around in the long run of the game. As driving in, there goes Fuller, and Fuller gets all the way to the rack, and he's now into double figures with 10 points. 5-0 here in the fourth quarter in favor of Bluefield as McGinnis's three is short, rebounded underneath, taken away by Bluefield's Josiah Hicks, 6-foot junior. Gets it up ahead for Green. Green will now retreat. They'll set up the offense. Fuller now will go for three from the left side. No good, short. Rebounded by Rose. Rose dribbles into the middle. Swings it over for Smallwood. Goes down low for McGinnis. Backs his way in. Going to draw the foul as he took Josiah Hicks to the right block. And Hicks just tried to reach in and grab at the ball, but grabbed the hold of his wrist instead. So McGinnis will go back to the free throw line where he's 2 of 6 today. And he missed his last 4 attempts, making his last 5 attempts. And as I said, he's just not been a friend to this rim here today. He's had several just rattle in and out on him. That one he gets to rattle home. McGinnis now with 12 points for the game. They're waiting for the Bluefield player to get off the floor and onto the bench, as that's the first point of the fourth quarter for Greater Beckley Christian. As triple team converges on Green, he's able to give it up to Hicks, and Hicks drives in and banks it home. Josiah Hicks with his first field goal of the game. 7-1 now Bluefield here in the fourth quarter. Out to Smallwood, and he gets Greater Beckley perhaps going here in this fourth quarter, as he's got 19 points for the game. Cuts the lead in half at 7-4. Now a steal by Mitchell, but had it poked away from behind. Taken back by the Beavers. Over into the right corner for Younger. He's double teamed, throws it out front. Hicks cuts off the pass from Fuller. And now Bluefield will set up their offense after that scramble. Get it over to Younger. He pump fakes, gets Mitchell in the air, drives baseline, but shot is off the mark. Rebound comes down. McGinnis up ahead to Smallwood. Now to Drumheller. Drives over to the right side, and he'll lay it up and in. Drumheller with 8 points now for the game, and the lead has been cut to 1 here in the fourth quarter, as that one almost stolen by Smallwood, but just rolled out of bounds with it. So again, great hustle by Greater Beckley here, trying to fight their way back into this fourth period. And again, overall right now, Greater Beckley trailing by 7 when you add up all the points from the game. And if you're just joining us, they're just playing quarter by quarter. Whistle and a charge will go against Bluefield, as Mitchell was standing there for a good amount of time, but Flack came in anyway and just bowled over top of Mitchell for that charge. And that's one of those you want to make sure you teach them going forward. You want your players to be aggressive getting to the basket, but you also got to learn when to pull up, take that little 6-footer instead of just running over top of the defender at that point in time. There's a good opportunity just to stop short and take that little jumper, but Flack came in anyway, and Mitchell was able to draw the charge. Now a tip pass, but able to control it over to Smallwood for the lead. No. Rebounded though by Rose. He'll go back up and lay it in. John Rose now with a dozen, and that is a 7-0 run for Greater Beckley Christian as Fuller gets into the paint, kicks it out to Younger. Younger able to get it back up top for Flack with 3:09 remaining. It's a 1-point fourth quarter lead for Greater Beckley, and now a steal by Smallwood. Stutter steps in, what a rejection by Flack. He was able to stay in there and get the defensive stop. Now the pass up ahead, rejected out of bounds by McGinnis. What hustle from him as he was able to recover when it looked like Younger had a sure 2 points on his end. Great defensive plays back to back. And a timeout here by Bluefield as we get a look at it here on our Video Productions instant replay against Smallwood. The stutter step, but Flack didn't go for it, hung in and got the rejection, had the great pass up ahead, and then you see the ground. McGinnis was able to make up to swat it away and keep 2 points off the board. We'll be back after this as you're watching the Little General preseason shootout right here on Video Productions.
Stores knows West Virginia, but what some may not know is what LG is doing in your communities. And I'm here to tell you how Little General, with the strength of their 100+ stores, is helping to enrich lives and empower families in West Virginia. Like the Norma May Huggins Cancer Research Endowment Fund, which is fighting to cure cancer every day right here in West Virginia. Locally owned and operated, LG has always been there and always will be. Little General Stores, committed to West Virginians. Boom!
.255 remaining here in the fourth quarter of game number 3. Chris Kidd here with you as Bluefield has seen Greater Beckley go on a 7-0 run to take this 1-point lead. Overall, though, in the game, whenever you add all the scoring together, Bluefield leads by 5 in this contest. So again, it's about winning the quarter, but also trying to find a way to win overall, even though we're not keeping track of the score on the scoreboard. We are keeping track of it here on the sideline, and there's a huge 3 for Jalen Flack. That is his 6th point of the game. Both are 3-pointers, and the lead goes back to Bluefield here in the fourth quarter at 10-8. Down to 2:20 to go. They give it to McGinnis down low. Spins on the right right shoulder. No, can't get it to go, but he chases down his own miss. Gets it on the left block now, and a whistle and a traveling call. So McGinnis showing a lot of hustle on that possession, but just could not get a good angle in order to finish on that first attempt on the right block, and then had the defense converge on him on the second attempt and ends up in a turnover. So now here comes Hyder up the floor. Had the huge first half of 15 points. Been quiet here in the second half with 2 points, but yet controlling this game from the free throw line for predominantly was him, only missing on 1 attempt. There's almost a 5-second call. Now the ball knocked loose. Rose comes up with it, drives in left side, and John Rose now with 14 points in the game, and we're all even at 10 apiece here in the fourth quarter. Oddly enough, we've not had a quarter be tied yet here today in the 11 quarters we've played. They go underneath, shot up, count it for Fuller. And Caleb Fuller off the bench, he's got 12 points now. Now to Smallwood. He gets open for 3 and count it for Caden Smallwood. So back to the first quarter type of action where it's up and down, scoring left and right. Minute 15 to go. Mitchell rips it away, and we're going to get a whistle and a tie-up. That was a bit unfortunate for Mitchell. It seemed like he had taken the ball away very abruptly there. It didn't seem like it was tied up for long enough to get a tie-up called, but nevertheless, it'll stay with Bluefield. Flack gets it in. Fuller sees McGinnis and runs it back out front. Now Flack with it as we close in on a minute to go in the fourth quarter. Now they go down low as Fuller has it rejected. It's saved by Johnson, but into the hands of McGinnis. Up ahead, Smallwood tries to chase it down, able to save it, but now it's loose and it's taken by Flack. McGinnis takes out his own teammate on the pass, but did get enough of it, the ball, in order to prevent an easy layup for Bluefield. So it'll still be Bluefield ball, but what hustle and what aggressiveness on the defensive end on both sides. As Greater Beckley trying to win the fourth quarter to even it up at 2 quarters apiece for these teams. As I said, overall, it's Bluefield with a 5-point edge in this contest, and now a foul in the backcourt as Smallwood tried to steal it away from Flack, and Flack gestures that he got hit on the arm that time. So Hyder will now inbound in front of the Greater Beckley bench, looking and able to get it in. As Fuller stripped from behind, and now a whistle, and it's going to be a foul on Fuller. So it'll be Greater Beckley ball with 42.7 seconds to go in the ball game. And at the conclusion of the fourth quarter, both teams will stick around on the floor and run through some game situations as they have in the last 2 games. And again, we'll continue filming as that goes on so you can see how the game situations are going on both ends. Again, kind of an inside look at what practice is like sometimes. They give it off to McGinnis, and looked like he had the ball knocked away for a moment, still almost put it in, but then a whistle and a foul after the fact. And again, these 2 teams won't get as much time as the other 2 did, as we're already at 3:20. The fourth game is set to begin at 4 o'clock. So they may only get about 15 or so minutes where they can work on some game situations before Capital and Greenbrier East come out for warm-ups. But again, something's better than nothing. As free throw off the mark for McGinnis. As Adair will check out. As R.J. Harrison checks back in for Bluefield. Again, a second free throw on the way, and that one rattles around and falls through. That's 13 points now for McGinnis. 30 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Get it out to Hyder. He'll go for the lead. No good. Rebound knocked loose, out of bounds, and last touched by Bluefield. 23.2 seconds to go in the game, or in the fourth quarter, and a chance here for Bluefield on the defensive end to try and get a steal as it's worked up ahead. Mitchell does lose it, taken away by Fuller. Now they get it to Flack. He'll take a quick pull-up jumper, no good. Rebounded by Drumheller underneath, out ahead to McGinnis. McGinnis chases it down, drives in, whistle, and a blocking foul will go against Harrison with 8.5 seconds to go. And Smallwood is just standing out there on the three-point line right now, basically thinking I was wide open over here. And now McGinnis appears like he's bleeding after hitting the deck. See a gash on his hand as he goes to the bench. And again, that's a hard foul on both ends there. As we said, we've seen some tough moments here in these 3 games with a couple of injuries. Again, have one with GW, Zane McCarty, and you had Trey Walker earlier in this game for Bluefield, and now here's McGinnis over on the bench with an injury to his hand. So, like we said, it's important to get this game action in and try and get yourselves ready for the season, but boy, oh boy, do you hate seeing your players getting hurt in a preseason game. You've noticed out here, these kids have not been competing like it's a preseason game. They've been going at it as if this is a regular season or sectional game. And I said, you can tell how much they've wanted to be back doing this and how much they've missed it. And it's been a knockdown, drag-out affair in all 3 contests as they continue to look over McGinnis and try and work on getting the bleeding to stop on his hand right now. So you imagine they're going to have to bring in someone from the bench here to shoot these free throws while they treat McGinnis over on the bench. And I think they're going to maybe send someone over to maybe try and look at McGinnis's wound and maybe getting patched up if they can. But it'll be Nikolic to shoot the free throws now with 8.5 seconds left in the fourth quarter. As his first attempt is no good off the side of the rim. And that'll be one area, if you're Greater Beckley after this, you want to look at is some of your free throw shooting, because they've left a lot of points at the line today. But he does get the second one to fall, 15-12. So now Bluefield needs a 3 to tie this quarter. They inbound it, ball deflected in the back court, still loose, taken up ahead. They get it over to Hyder. He'll go for the tie. No good, off the side of the rim. Rebound tipped up, taken, and laid in by Johnson as the horn sounds. And Greater Beckley escapes with a 1-point fourth quarter win, but Bluefield will get the overall point total win in this game. So now they're going to prepare to do a few game situations. We'll step aside for a break while we add up some of the final statistics and be back and run through those with you here in just a moment as you're watching the Little General Store preseason tournament with us right here live on Video Productions.
General Stores knows West Virginia, but what some may not know is what LG is doing in your communities. And I'm here to tell you how Little General, with the strength of their 100+ stores, is helping to enrich lives and empower families in West Virginia. Like the Norma May Huggins Cancer Research Endowment Fund, which is fighting to cure cancer every day right here in West Virginia. Locally owned and operated, LG has always been there and always will be. Little General Stores, committed to West Virginians. Boom!
An injury at any age can be a game changer, but Marshall Orthopedics, the area's only comprehensive sports medicine practice, is ready to get you off the bench and back in the game. Marshall Orthopedics takes care of the herd. Let us take care of you.
I'm Stuart Caldwell. For more than 40 years, I and my firm have vindicated the rights of individuals hurt by defective drugs, defective chemicals, and other products. Now I'm teaming with Booth to take on the big drug companies to vindicate the rights of children born with NAS. There are significant legal proceedings that could affect you and your child's legal rights.
If you're the parent or guardian of a child who you believe was born dependent on opioids, you need to act now.
The earth beneath my feet is turning like a wheel and beating like a drum.
Your first set of wheels didn't come with complications, or strings, or hassles. It can be that way again.
Now that the world keeps turning around.
Tire Pros. Hassle-free, guaranteed.
Again, welcome back here to Greater Beckley Christian, everyone. Chris Kidd here with you as they begin to go over some of the late game situations here while they have a little opportunity before Greenbrier East and Capital begins, as they have it set up at 72-68. And Greater Beckley getting in, trying to lay it up, but no good. But we'll run through the final statistics, and as we said, we'll leave the cameras rolling so that you can keep track of some of these late game situations, just trying to see how the kids react in these spots, work on plays, work on protecting the ball, obviously, foul situations, things like that. Again, all little things that maybe the casual fan doesn't think about, but all the things that coaches have to think about. As you see, they set up this situation with Greater Beckley with a 4-point lead and 55 seconds left, and then they'll switch it after that, and then they'll work on a few more while they have some time. But recapping all the scoring from this game, it was 71-66 overall, Bluefield with the point total over Greater Beckley Christian, and they tied at 2 quarters each, as Greater Beckley winning 2 tight quarters. The only real blowout quarter was the second quarter, whenever Bluefield won 24-16, which proved to be the big difference in the game. But you look at the final scoring with Bluefield, they were led by Logan Hyder with 17 points. Then you had Jalen Green with 7 points, R.J. Harrison with 4 points, Chance Johnson with 12 points, Jayon Flack with 6 points. Then you had Nick Martin with 4 points, Trey Walker with 3 points, Caleb Fuller with 12 points, Josiah Hicks with 2 points, and Will Looney with 4 points. On the other end for Greater Beckley Christian, they were led by Caden Smallwood, with 22 points for the game. The second highest total we've seen today, behind Braden Chapman of Shady Spring, who had 25 points. Then you had John Rose with 14 points, Jordan McGinnis with 13 points, Ezra Drumheller with 8 points, B.J. Mitchell with 4 points, Todd Nikolic with 3 points, and Andy Epling with 2 points to round out the scoring for Greater Beckley Christian. So again, we'll keep everything rolling here while they work on these late game situations. And then we'll be set for game number 4 after that, with Capital taking on Greenbrier East, as we see Capital, some of their players on the far side. So we'll be ready for that 4th and final game coming up close to 4 o'clock here today from Greater Beckley Christian High School. So again, I'm going to step away for a few minutes and be back with you as we get ready for the start of game number 4 right here on Video Productions.
General Stores knows West Virginia. But what some may not know is what LG is doing in your communities. And I'm here to tell you how Little General, with the strength of their 100+ stores, is helping to enrich lives and empower families in West Virginia. Like the Norma May Huggins Cancer Research Endowment Fund, which is fighting to cure cancer every day right here in West Virginia. Locally owned and operated, LG has always been there and always will be. Little General Stores, committed to West Virginians. Boom!
An injury at any age can be a game changer, but Marshall Orthopedics, the area's only comprehensive sports medicine practice, is ready to get you off the bench and back in the game. Marshall Orthopedics takes care of the herd. Let us take care of you.
I'm Stuart Caldwell. For more than 40 years, I and my firm have vindicated the rights of individuals hurt by defective drugs, defective chemicals, and other products. Now I'm teaming with Booth to take on the big drug companies to vindicate the rights of children born with NAS. There are significant legal proceedings that could affect you and your child's legal rights.
If you're the parent or guardian of a child who you believe was born dependent on opioids, you need to act now.
The earth beneath my feet is turning like a wheel and beating like a drum.
Your first set of wheels didn't come with complications, or strings, or hassles. It can be that way again.
Now that the world keeps turning around.
Tire Pros. Hassle-free, guaranteed.
Coach Bob Huggins here at your local Little General store. As I travel this great state, it's nice to know that almost anywhere I go, there's a local Little General nearby. So the next time you're on the road, look for the Little General sign and tell them Hugs